Hi, I'm Lucy Yantis, and I'm here with Gabby Marye from Girl Scouts of Central Texas for my Girl Scout Gold Award about backpacking and the Goodwater Loop. Okay, so tell me about yourself and what you do.
So my name is Gabby Marye. I work for Girl Scouts of Central Texas. I'm the outdoor programs and adult training specialist for outdoors. Now that's a new thing. I work with girls very closely and help mentor them through the outdoors. And then I also put different programs on the calendar by working with community collaborators, so different people that offer different outdoor experiences in the community. And then I also lead high adventure travel trips, which is backpacking, whitewater rafting, canoeing, kayaking, a whole bunch of different things. We're going to the Grand Canyon in a couple weeks, and we're going to be doing backpacking and then a little bit of rock climbing out there, which is awesome. And then the adult training side, I do adult trainings. Like I said, this is a little bit newer, but I do adult trainings for canoeing and kayaking, archery, as well as backpacking.
It's cool. So what do you love most about your job?
I love working with the girls.
Yeah.
Girl Scouts specifically, I love working with the youth and really seeing them kind of blossom into who they want to be and decide on what their passions are within Girl Scouts, and really seeing them kind of especially on the high adventure travel trips and backpacking experiences, seeing them come out of their shell and really have that self-confidence. I really think that backpacking and other outdoor activities really boost your confidence and also give you a clearer sense of self, and help you to be a better leader.
I love that. What do you love most about being in the outdoors? Like, what made you want to become an outdoor specialist?
So outdoors for me, I'm a very anxious person, and I went on my first backpacking trip whenever I was in college, and I didn't realize how hard it was, but afterwards I was just so proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah.
And there were college guides that were there with me, and I saw what they were doing, and I was like, oh, they lead them. Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to share this passion with others. And I think my favorite thing about being outdoors is just like going on a solo hike by myself and seeing someone that's lost and helping them on the trail, or just like hearing the birds and feeling the peace that comes with outside, feeling like the sun on your skin, and just knowing like you have everything with you that you need. Those are some of my favorite things about being outdoors.
I love that too. I relate to that.
Yeah.
I like feeling rewarded after doing things and like, I don't know, just being at peace outside.
Yes.
So what is the best way for people to get started backpacking if they have never been before?
I think a great way is to rent gear just to see if you like it at first. I think, and through Girl Scouts we do have a gear rental program. Also REI offers a rental program, I believe. But you can rent the gear or borrow it from a friend, and then just find a trail that's near you, and try hiking with the backpack. And then if you like that, try overnighting with the backpack. I really think one overnight, like just doing like an in and back, like we were the San Gabriel Trail is a perfect place for Central Texas to do that, because you can go and you can hike in with everything in your pack, and then you can go out and just do one night out and then come right back. And if it's a one night, if it goes terribly wrong, it's only one night, you're going to be okay. And if it goes well and you really like that one night, then maybe try another night. But I definitely suggest like hiking and doing day hikes and seeing if you want to do that some more before you go on like a 4 or 5 day excursion.
Exactly. That's what we did. We did like for our first ever backpacking trip, our first one we hiked like maybe a quarter of a mile and spent the night, but our first like real backpacking trip it was like 1.5 miles out one night and then back, and honestly it was a good way to like ease into it, and then from there we did longer trips. Okay, so can you elaborate on like what kind of gear that Girl Scouts in Central Texas can rent?
So the gear that we have, we've been expanding it a little bit. We have biofuel stoves that can boil a cup of water, which are great for backpacking. We have backpacking tents as well as regular car camping tents that are available to rent. We also have, and those are 2-person tents typically. We have internal frame and external frame backpacks. We just got a whole bunch of new internal frame packs, which are the ones that I suggest because they're more comfortable. And then we have 20-degree sleeping bags as well as inflatable and non-inflatable sleeping pads.
Awesome.
And then we also have water filtration if anyone needs it. If they're going backpacking, I'll include that in the rental complimentary. So we have little Catalan pump filters that they can use.
I didn't know that you could rent water filters.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what are some common misconceptions that people have about backpacking, or like first timer mistakes that you often see?
So I'll talk about my first time backpacking. This was before I was doing more ultralight and just taking what you need. I was taking everything with me, and whenever I say everything, I mean my pack was about 70 pounds, and I had guides with me. And I just like brought extra shoes, which I still sometimes bring extra shoes, but I bring like Crocs, which are super lightweight. At the time, I had like a pair of tennis shoes with me, and then I had like all of this stuff hanging on the outside of my pack, which was causing like all of this like sway.
I've seen people do that before.
Yeah,
we have a lot of that in our Girl Scout troop.
One of the guys that was in my group, he had gone backpacking before, but he liked a certain way for the pack to look, which is fine, but he had his sleeping bag on the outside of his pack instead of like secured on the inside.
Did it come unrolled?
We had a hailstorm with a lot of rain, and his sleeping bag was wet for like 3 days.
That sounds miserable.
So I would definitely suggest like a pack liner. Like I've showed you even just doing like that trash bag on the inside of the bag, and then putting everything you don't want to get wet on the inside, so that way you don't have to take the extra time to like put the pack liner on the the cover on the outside of the pack. I think that's really good. I also think like if you can go ultralight, or if you can go some version of ultralight where you're still comfortable but you don't have like all of your creature comforts, I think that's even better, because it saves your feet from so many blisters. It saves your joints from all of the pain, and it just makes the experience a lot better. I also think like a lot of people think that like backpackers are super like hardcore outdoorsy, but I mean, backpacking, you can hike at whatever pace you want to. You just got to plan out your trip based on how you think you're going to perform. And so I think a lot of times people are like, ooh, scary backpacking. I'm like, no, it's actually pretty nice and lovely if you just pack less in your pack and you bring everything that you need to be comfortable, but you don't pack everything under the sun.
That makes sense.
Or have things swaying on the outside of your pack, because that causes like bruising. Like it just
it's more enjoyable
your pack
when you're not in pain.
Exactly.
Or not in as much pain. It still works your body, but
still is going to be very like, it's a hard experience on your body, but then like, I don't know, I've just found that you enjoy it more if you have less. So.
Yes. Less is more. Okay.
Definitely.
So what are some benefits of backpacking that you've seen?
So there was a girl on one of my backpacking trips, and I knew her before the trip, but she was always like really quiet and just like really subdued. And then whenever she was on the trip with the other girls, she just like came to life and was this goofy, bubbly, like just out there, and I loved it. And I still see her today whenever she's like with her parents, she's still kind of subdued, but she wrote a piece after the trip and was like, everyone was so nice on the trip, everyone just got along so well, and she had a great time. And that was really cool to just see like her come out of her shell. There's been other girls that like have really bad anxiety about going into the woods, and then I just see them like conquering their fears. And that's been really, really cool, because then you can see like the confidence that builds after that. Like we had some bear encounters
oh my goodness,
on the trip, and we all watched several videos, and we knew what to do with bears. And so I saw all of the girls running towards the bears, and like, no bear, go bear, go bear, go. And that's what all of the videos had said, and we were all just like, it was not charging at the bears, because you don't want to like anger them, but like making sure they knew that this was our spot and that they needed to go. And they just ran right out of our campsite.
That's awesome.
And that was really cool to see like all of them kind of come together as a team and just face a fear.
Seems like one of like the most rewarding parts about your job is like getting to see other people like love the outdoors as much as you do, and like experience that. What is your scariest or most challenging outdoor moment?
Oh my goodness. Okay. It actually happened on the San Gabriel Loop Trail.
Oh my gosh.
No. This was the first trip that I led by myself without any professional staff in college. So I was, I think, either 19 or 20, and I had participants with me. It was me and then just a whole bunch of other people. And that day the weather was horrible, but we didn't get like a contingency plan of like what to do if we cancel the trip day of. And so I was like, okay, we have to do this trip. And I don't think I would do this with Girl Scouts, but we were all over 18. I took like a trip consensus, and they said we want to do this. So I was like, okay. So there was flash flooding all through the trail for most of the day. So we ended up hanging out at, there used to be an REI in Georgetown, so we hung, or in Round Rock.
Yeah.
So we hung out at the REI, and I think I got like a few more gear items for like just in case things. And then we got on the trail at like 4 p.m. So we're hiking and we get to the first campsite, and I look at the forecast and there's more rain in the forecast. And it's the, I think the Walnut
Springs?
Yes, Walnut Springs. Because we decided to do the trail opposite because there was going to be less stream crossings on that side from
which park?
Jim Hogg.
Okay.
So we came from Jim Hogg, parked the car, set up the shuttle on the other side. So we got to the Low River crossing like on this side, on the far side of Tejas. So we can see Tejas. It's like on the other side of this road that has the water
I know what
crossing.
You're talking about. Yeah.
Excuse me. And it's just like the water is just like just coming down, and there's no way that we can cross safely over this water crossing. And so I'm like, oh shoot, okay, well there's a field that's right over there. And I was like, okay, well let's set up our tents and then let's try to get water ready for dinner. And we started filtering the water, and it was so, because it was the water that was coming from that runoff, and it was just so, there was just so much sediment in it that it was clogging our water filter like every 5 minutes. So we'd have to back flush the filter and then re-get it set up, and so we were getting like maybe a liter of water, and I was just like, okay, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then the people that were, I was up at the top like trying to like help everyone set up tents and like be the lead, and this is my first trip that I'm ever leading, and they say, oh, like the water's going down over there, do we want to do we need to get water from somewhere else? I'm like, wait, the water's going down? It's like, oh, and it got down to this much water that was going over that low water crossing, and I was like, we can cross. So we just picked up the tents that we had already set up and like walked them across and set them down on the tent area, and of course there's nobody over there because the weather's awful. And so we get everything set up, we ate dinner really fast, went to bed, and then I'm just sitting there monitoring the weather because I know it's going to be really bad. And so I didn't get to sleep hardly at all, and my tent mate was sick, and she was a co-guide, and it was a whole mess. But then at 5 a.m. I saw like lightning like right there, and I wake up and there's like water all underneath my tent, like I'm sleeping on a water bed.
It didn't leak in though?
It didn't leak in, which was very fortunate. But I got out of my tent, and I had to wake everybody up and be like, everyone to the men's bathroom, like right now, because that's where it has like it's a grounded shelter that has electricity, and it has a little thing sticking up out of the roof. I was like, everybody over there, and we got in, and then lightning struck, like everyone was in the shelter, and then lightning struck like right next to
where your tents were?
Yeah, like 0.01 miles away, which was literally like where we crossed earlier. That's where it struck, and I was like, oh shoot. So I had to wait through this lightning storm and I was like, it'll be okay. Like I've sat through lightning before, and lightning's honestly really scary. But yeah, that was just a lot. So none of us slept all night, and then we got up the next morning and started hiking. And then the rest of the trip was great.
You continued the trip after?
Yes, we continued the trip.
That's perseverance.
Yes, and I was very proud of myself for persevering through that. And everyone, like we had multiple trips going that weekend, and everyone was having a really hard time on their trips. But I made really good calls in the moment, and I still pride myself on being able to make good, safe calls in stressful situations. And that, I think that trip honestly gave me the most confidence in my outdoor leading skills, because it was just like one thing after another, and everything was going wrong. but then my brain was like, oh, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can do this. And it was really cool, but it was scary. Lightning, like I said, always scary.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest fears actually, is lightning. I think but that's so good that everybody made it out safely, and you even continued the trip, which is even more impressive.
Yeah.
That's actually all the questions that I have.
No, I think that was pretty comprehensive.
Okay, awesome.